It's an absolutely beautiful day out. Everything is green. This is October. And the sun is out. It's been rainy. So let's go for a walk. Talk about some interesting... Will you shut the fuck up? You just stop being so happy. She just goes crazy because we're going for a walk. You get out of my way. I'm afraid I'm going to step on her. Jesus. Let's talk about comfort today because it is such a comfortable day out. And the weather will soon be turning colder at night. This is very minor. The weather here is perfect all year long. It's easy. My infrastructure sucks and stuff, but I kind of have this attitude, perhaps because of how I was raised or because of my disgust with weak people, that people need to go through difficult experiences. They need to experience pain in order to understand how cushy they got it, and not demand that they use so much energy in always feeling perfect. Everything always being perfect. It's like, I think some people were just raised too spoiled. And it's bad for society, it's bad for them, it's bad for their families and friends. Not everyone's like that, of course. But there's an interesting story. Some scientists, being the cruel weirdos that they are, put a mouse into a jar full of water, half full of water, and let it get almost to the point of drowning. So it's in there treading water going, holy shit, I'm going to drown in here. And they measured how long that mouse would struggle before it gave up and was just going to die. And it wasn't that long. It was some period of time. It would eventually just say, screw it, I'm dead. Well, they took the same experiment and they put a mouse in the water, and then they saved it after it had struggled for a while. And the second time, the mouse would struggle much longer before giving up because it had hope that it didn't die before, and it won't this time. Maybe. In the same way, we can learn that in life. Temporary discomfort and pain don't really matter. So while you meet some people you meet will freak out if they're just uncomfortable in what seem like the most minor ways. You know, it's like, well, just suck it up, you know. It's annoying to have to deal with these people. Now, that doesn't mean people have to go to the extreme I have of having a very uncomfortable life in a variety of ways. But it's one of the reasons I'm not that unhappy about it, is because I know that that is how you get stronger. Now, I mean, that's a whole other topic of exactly how messed up I am, but you know, and I consider this because I consider having people here again, and one of my concerns is that they have a much higher standard of living than I do. I mean, I've had people come here. This is why I have a form now to come here and warn people about the place, and I've written a lot and made videos, so I don't surprise anyone with this horrible place. And it's funny because some people come here and it's a paradise and they love it, and others come here and they're like, oh my God, you know, there's no pool. I can't have long showers whenever I want them. There's composting toilets. There's a composting toilet right here. A couple came here a long time ago when I used to just have one person in a group fill out the form, and she was not prepared. Well, neither was he, for what they experienced here. They're from New York, well-off couple. They had gone camping once, one night, to prepare themselves, and they didn't like that. So obviously they weren't real happy being here. I don't think they'd ever been in a rustic environment of any kind, you know. And I've also had some people come here. It's a different case, but and it's their first time being in a natural environment. And you know, they're city people. And so their first response for some of them is fear. They're afraid. And I guess that's a normal response to anything that's new. And I ask them, like, well, what are you afraid of? And they're not sure. But you know, things aren't normal. And I guess the normal response to things not being normal is fear. They're outside their comfort zone. Of course, by the third night, when no animals have eaten them, and they haven't frozen to death, and, you know, it was dark in the forest and everything, they relax and that problem seems to go away. But I guess there's a benefit, especially at a young age, because who cares about the old people anyway? They're going to die anyway, so why bother? What is this dog doing? This dog is digging into a rotting stump for no apparent reason. There's probably something in there. I think this, I'm sure there's been tests on this. They have like baby labs and stuff where they run babies through tests, and it's all safe and stuff. There's video, and you know, the kids aren't going to get hurt. But they observe childhood development and the childhood responses to stresses. And I think there's really something to be said for, at every age, exposing people to moderate discomfort so they realize that moderate discomfort is irrelevant. It's temporary. It does not matter. They're not going to die. And it's actually good for them. And there's some people who know that. You know, like if you go running, it is an uncomfortable sensation when your muscles are burning and your lungs are stressed and you know, it's an uncomfortable thing, but it's for a higher goal. In fact, your body releases endorphins, so you can actually become drug addicted to that. You know, I mean, in terms of things here, I deal with adults, not kids, and so anything I say about kids is suspect. I'm not going to be the person who designs the curriculum for kids, but I am going to have some thoughts to add to that process, and I want the adults who are more kid experienced and the kids who are more kid experienced to primarily be the designers of that, but I want the philosophies I have to be considered as part of it. Certainly some of it's not even controversial. You know, like I think that kids should run around and get scraped up. I think they should fall down and skin their knees. That's how I grew up, and it's good for you. Because if you think a skinned elbow or a skinned knee is the end of the goddamn world, you are weak as fuck. And you're a liability on any team. You know, if you're on a team and you feel a little bit sick in the morning, well, I mean, I don't know, maybe you should pay attention to that. You know, maybe it's contagious. But if you just don't feel like getting up because you're a lazy ass, get the fuck out of bed. You can't have a good team with weak people. And, like they say, a chain is as strong as its weakest link, meaning that if you have a chain, one link is weak, then the entire chain is weak. One person in an environment, literally one single person, can destroy your ability to be successful. I gotta be careful not to slip in here. Everything's a goddamn hazard. I slipped about a week ago. I'm the weak link in the chain. I'm the only link in the chain right now, which makes me an inherently very not functional chain. I can't even act as a chain. I'm just a weak link. But I think our analogies here may get out of hand. But, god damn it. All this shit in here needs to get macheted out. I need to get a bulldozer and fill all this shit in so you can actually get through it. I mean, I'm good now for the next year. But, well, I gotta cut these plants. I mean, that's a road. A weak excuse for a road. So back to people. I think about things like eating hot peppers. I think that'd be a good activity. Now, I'm not saying that we should eat so many hot peppers that we barf. But I was reading a different study about... Actually, it was an article about the study. It wasn't the actual study, but close enough. It was about how people's perception of hotness and spiciness impacts their perception of what the pain is. And they had, for example, pictures of blue peppers versus red ones. The people shown the pictures of the blue peppers experienced less spiciness, less pain, than the ones who saw the pictures of the red. There's massive psychological components to what we think is pain and discomfort. And I'm not, saying we should have a terribly uncomfortable life. And one of my goals, if I'm going to have people here, is to actually go massively in the direction of making things comfortable. But I don't want to advertise for that. I don't want to celebrate it too much. I mean, I want things to be good, but it's like I would rather attract people who are up for adventure and up for something challenging than people who want to come and experience luxury and give a shit if they have high thread count sheets and stuff. I mean, I see these ads for like eco resorts and stuff, and they talk about what high thread count sheets they have, and I'm just like, these people don't get it, We have to adjust ourselves and our expectations as a civilization to an energy level that doesn't require slave labor around the world to provide us with fancy ass fucking products. So there's some thoughts on comfort. Anything else? I need some goddamn comfort in various ways. I've pushed myself way beyond anything reasonable. So right now at this point, and in my next video I'm going to record will be about this. Hi, good boys. The dogs are good at being comfortable. Although they're lonely too. And they're not comfortable. This is not even ideal for dogs here. I mean, they're fine, but we weren't really made to be alone. And I've gone far beyond the benefits of being alone. Like, and there's some kind of Vietnamese Buddhist tradition of forest meditation. And you go out in the forest and meditate for 3 years. And I doubt it's even that hardcore. I bet you it's pretty swanky. It's not like they're just out there in the woods surviving for 3 years. Monks aren't really known for suffering a lot of discomfort, to be honest. I think they suffer a lot of simplicity and the removal of a lot of luxuries, but they don't experience the shit I've been through. I continue to go through. And the dangers and continual risks. I don't want people to actually suffer or get hurt. You know, I don't want to break their bones or anything. But there's a difference between a skinned knee and a broken bone. And people should be too bored for a while. They should get too hot, too cold. Luckily, that would be popular. Sauna and cold plunge or something. So, I can couch the idea of discomfort not in the way that I'm saying it, but in positive ways of being stronger, healthier, escaping from the pablum distractions of civilization. I look at festivals. There's a festival I looked at. It cost $3,000 for 3 nights. And it's, considered this pinnacle, transformative, wonderful experience. I think it's called A Fest. It immediately makes you think of Asshole Fest. Vice did a video on it, a documentary, and the people just look horrible. They're from the program called Mind Valley, I believe it is, which is sort of a little cultish, but whatever. It's just rich people thinking that they're important because they're rich and useless. And they've got all the usual blinky lights. Like if I have a dance thing, I don't want to focus on huge amounts of blinky lights and that kind of visual candy comfort. It's wasteful as hell. At the same time, I had a cool idea for a Blacklight bubble machine. They would have a smoke machine feeding into a bubble machine, and then the smoke would itself, I looked this up, the smoke itself can have one type of UV reactive color in it, and then the bubble stuff could have a different, wow, cool, that was close. What fucking kind of bird was that? It's a very big raptor. I didn't see the tail. God damn it. Anyway, so the smoke would feed the air into the bubbles, and the bubbles, and there'd be UV light, right? The bubbles would have a different color of UV stuff in them, and then there could be a heat underneath it, or some way to make the bubbles go up, or even just release them at a higher level. Whatever works to get those bubbles up in the air and lasting longer. And then when they popped, the color would change. The smoke that came out of it would be a different color than the bubble was. And you could, I don't know what our color options here are on glow stuff, but you could do something like, have a blue bubble, green smoke, a blue bubble, yellow smoke, or the reverse, and therefore the bubble would look green until it popped. I don't know, you could just do stuff. But the point is, I'm not against the comfort of glitzy fun stuff and toys and things like that. But if that's all you've got, if that's the depth of your pseudo-spiritual transformative festival, you don't got shit for depth. You're just a too rich asshole at A-Fest. No offense to those folks. It's not their fault they're too rich. Well, it is sometimes, but a lot of it's generational wealth. And some of them did actually work for it as well. Either one of those can be fine. Just because you're rich does not mean you have to be a dumbass. It just correlates heavily. Really heavily. That's why people who are too rich need detox programs. Because they live in a toxic environment. They live with too much freedom, not enough stoicism. All right, what do? If I take this road, it's safe. And then I have to walk down that way and then back up. If I walk this way, I might fall down in the slippery trail. And my spine is still hurting me from doing that last time. Because I fell right in my backpack with stuff in it, and I bruised my spine. It hurts right now. It's still functional, it's not broken. I don't know if you can get a bone bruise. feel like I've heard that term before, but this is a discomfort I do not enjoy. So do I experience the waste of time walking up there and then back down, or do I take the risk of walking this way, and I've only fallen down once in many years because I'm extremely careful on that trail. Also, the sun is out, so my risk of slipping on slippery ground is less than it has been. But this is really hard packed mud. And it's in the trees. So there's a danger. I checked my phone. I asked the guy if this would be a good day to visit. By the way, my cool shirt was a donation. It says fiscally conservative, socially awkward, which is kind of a joke. But he knows me really well from a long time ago. Let's see, I gotta go to WhatsApp. And he has not seen that message. Therefore, I have no reason to believe I'll be visiting him. And that actually is not a deciding factor on which way I would go anyway. I'm going to take the riskier path because I like efficiency. But this kind of discomfort I feel like in my back, I mean, like I can't pick up heavy shit for a variety of reasons, but that's one of them right now. I don't want to injure it further, you know. And I have spent some days laying there and relaxing and not doing a lot in hopes it would get better, but it still kind of hurts. And I think that was like about 5 days ago that happened. 5 or 6, something like that. What else on comfort? So I guess what I want to do is adjust whatever I offer here to what's appropriate for the person, right? For example, let's use kids as an example. That's one that'll get your attention. I don't want to stick kids in intentionally horrible positions just to toughen them up, okay? But I also don't want to be coddled so they become weak little assholes. And so that's one to navigate, and that's an area I would need a lot of parents, experienced parents with similar values as I have, to design that, and individually for the kid. I don't think we can make blanket things of like kids at this age, you know, can go through this type of experience. I think behind the scenes, we don't have to tell the kid this is even going on because they don't have the ability to understand it at a bigger level. But to give them as the right amount of difficulty for them in their challenges, and also have them have a lot of choice in what challenges they would like to have, but also have them do some things that they don't really want to do. Because in life, we have to learn that we don't get to choose everything. You know, sometimes you just got to suck it up and get what's done, what needs to get done. And this is the same thing is true of younger people. I've dealt with thousands of younger people, and many of them in a management role in a way, to try and get them to do shit. And my God, some of them are spoiled little wusses. You know, and some people are going to put that in a generational context and say, oh, it's Gen Z or whatever. And it's like, no, it's young people in general. They were spoiled wuss-ass fucks in the 50s. You know, they grew up too rich and stuff. So let's not try and make things into generational issues that aren't. It's about people issues. That's good. I'm getting out for a fucking walk. Maybe I'll get a sandwich as well. It's a luxury item for me. It's mainly because I'm so bored with my food, but I'm bored with the sandwiches now too. I mean, I eat the same thing every day, and then occasionally I go to town and get a sandwich. And I tried to get a pizza the other day, and that failed because of system failures at the business. So my big exciting day of going to get a pizza turned out to not be getting a pizza and still paying for it. I could have had a shitty pizza that wasn't even cooked. I didn't want to, I was just so annoyed. I'm at my limit of how much discomfort I want to put up with when I can't even get a fucking pizza, you know. I think I had one like 2 years ago. Might have been a year. Okay, this is a slippery spot. Okay, do not fucking fall down. Okay, I'm going to go this way, which is harder, but it has leaves, which are also slippery, but not the same kind of slippery. Okay. All right. So, I guess there is the issue of voluntary versus involuntary discomfort. And if you sign up for something that you know is going to be uncomfortable, that still gets you a lot of the benefits, not all of them, but a lot of the benefits of experiencing discomfort and learning from it. All right, a little bit slippery in here, not too bad. Although, I almost slipped down there the other day. I caught myself. I mean, that happens a lot in here. And it was in a spot where I thought I was just past the slippery spot. But I was not. Never relax. Never relax. Never lower your guard. Okay. Don't lower your guard. There we go. Fine. So people can see the whole experience as being difficult, and that's useful. You know, like somebody asked me if I had a pool. They were considering visiting, a friend of mine. And I was like, no. And I see the pictures of the hotels that they stay at as they fly around the world. And they're all nicer than, I've only been in a hotel that nice like maybe 3 times in my life. And this is normal for them. And so they wisely, a long time ago, this particular couple I'm thinking of, they wisely said, we're not going to go visit you. Because it just isn't for them. And that's great. I want to help people not come here if they're not going to be happy here. Because the point isn't to make people be uncomfortable and damaged or hate me or my place, but to match up somehow the level of difficulty with what really serves them for a higher value. Okay, what am I doing? There are mosquitoes out here, a lot of them this year. Also kind of uncomfortable. But they don't really bother me that much. I mean, I get bit. Like, I think I just got bit like 5 or 6 times on my arm. And there are a lot of kinds of people who, for them, that would be a big issue. For me, it's not. It's trivial. I think there's also a difference between people who are raised in a way where they need to always fight for themselves. And I gotta watch out for rattlesnakes in here. It's a good spot for rattlesnakes. Gotten a little more paranoid about that because I've run into rattlesnakes twice recently. Neither of which bit anyone. But should probably have a machete and make a trail through here. Alright, good. I'm now in a nice, safe location. We're talking about mosquitoes. So here's a brainstorming question then. Is what types of discomfort could I put people through that are good for them and that they agree are good for them, or are just good as exercises? Now, something like getting out of bed in the morning, meaning you go to sleep at the right time, and if you don't go to sleep at the right time, then you suffer. That's a natural consequence that should occur. Like, go to sleep before, don't be having so much fun at night, you stay up all night. I used to have volunteers here, and they would stay up late partying, and I had no rules. I started out in a position of not wanting to have hardly any rules, but people are so fucking colossally stupid and useless, and so they stay up till, 3, 4 in the morning partying, and then big surprise, they can't get up when it's sunrise at 6 something, 6 or 7. And, then they don't really eat their breakfast. They leave a dirty kitchen. I ended up hiring people to clean up after them and cook for them sometimes. And they were just a total net loss because they were too free. They had too much freedom, and too much freedom causes people to act in very bad ways. Not all of them, but most of them. So one of the reasons I do like this idea of this philosophy of Stoicism, whatever that means to you, Marcus Aurelius and all that stuff, of duty and, serving others and, buck up and be good. No, not buck up, that's the wrong term. I guess for when you're sad, isn't it? I don't know. Toughen up, in any case. All right, well, that's enough on that topic. I'm out. Good luck being tougher than you are. Oh, there was one other thing I didn't finish my thought on. And that was it, I've insulted these people who were raised too spoiled. There's other people, though, who were raised abusively, and they're always ready to fight against anybody who doesn't give them what they want because they had to grow up fighting just to have any level of security or comfort. And that's a different type of person. It's a different attitude. And maybe we all have a mix of these things. I don't know. But that's an interesting case because I want them to set boundaries. I want them to fight for what they want, but often they end up being bullies themselves. They continue the process of being a bully because they come from people who are just fighting to maintain control, and then they become people who are fighting to maintain control, and that's often control over other people. That's a different direction of a problem, kind of related to this comfort thing of what's in your comfort zone, what's out of your comfort zone, and how can we get people to have a fairly wide-ranging comfort zone so that they're not really worried about the small stuff. Don't sweat the small stuff. Why is there digging right? Oh, trees. There's trees planted here. So they did plant trees here. There's one there. 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 Everywhere. In a different video, I found these trees that were going to get planted in here, and I was like, why? They're pine trees. They must be a different species of pine. Maybe it's a species that somehow is better. Because there's not a shortage of pines in here, right? So somebody is probably going to try and do resin farming. Pine resin. That's my guess. Well, if I run into anybody who owns this land, I'll ask them. We'll find out. What is the motivation behind planting pines in a place where there's pines all over the place? Planting themselves. Goodbye.